real America's voice. Go ahead, scan the QR code now.
Alrighty, folks. Friday, 4 p.m. Market is closed. We don't have a ding-a-ling because the NYSE forgot to turn the camera on or something like that. All right, check it out. Dow Jones down about 200 or so. NASDAQ down 200. A little bit negative day all day. A lot of selling pressures. Bounced back a little bit towards the end. It was a lot lower. I will tell you something. You got to look at that market below there. We've been talking gold for a long time. Boy, it kind of melted down today, but this is just a profit-taking session. We're still $4,800, still about $2,100 higher than 1 year ago today. Very, very strong gold market. Oil bounced up a little bit. And crypto, at one point, Bitcoin late last night, I don't know why it was up 3 in the morning. 3 in the morning, Bitcoin had touched 81,000, dipped down all the way to 81, bounced back up to 84, about unchanged for the last couple of days. We'll see. I think some of the money that came out of the metals markets over the last 24 hours or so may start making its way into Bitcoin. I think people will wait till Monday to see what's actually happening. All right, folks. Good to hear our next guest, geopolitical advisor, strategist, but all things. She is just one of the most smart people you'll ever see on this show. Rena Shah, looking good. I'm glad to get you back on the show. Let's take a look here, Rena. Just take a peek here. Guys, take that live shot. We have that Minneapolis live shot. Protesters are marching. And this has been going on for a bit now. I was in the control room watching this with helicopters kind of flying over. By the way, 9 degrees on the ground in Minneapolis right now, 9. So it's really cold, and sun's going to go down about an hour and a half or so. It's an hour early. It's Central Time Zone, I'm pretty sure. Sun will go down about an hour or 2 hours or so from now, get a lot colder. Wind chill. Feels like temperatures around 3 below zero in Minnesota. So what are those people doing out there? Rena, let me bring you in and kind of bring us up to speed on all this, because remember, we're facing a potential government shutdown because Democrats have said, listen, we're not funding ICE, and if you think you're going to fund ICE, we're not going to play ball. We'll shut the government down. Take us through your feeling on what's going on over the last maybe 72 hours or so.
It's been a heavy 72 hours. I mean, I will say this pace of news feels really maddening because it's all very bifurcated in many ways. And I think there's an appetite for understanding here. A lot of people feel like it's just Groundhog Day, but that's not exactly true this time because we knew this was coming. Midnight tonight, the federal government is teetering on the edge of a partial shutdown. Now, I should say this would be the second of this fiscal year. Now, what people also don't understand, though, is that it's really only the major agencies that get affected here. I'm talking Department of Homeland Security, Department of Defense, Health and Human Services. And I get that people are nervous because what we just saw a few months ago was a record-breaking 43-day shutdown. So that ended in November. But what we see here is this pattern of brinksmanship in Congress. And you alluded to that by saying, the Democrats are trying to say this is all about ICE. The political dynamics are important here also because people tend to forget the two chambers have to navigate their own infighting. And I think right now everybody wants to put this on the door of Republicans politically because they hold the cards with control of the White House, House, and Senate, right? But those internal fractures that have kind of been coming up over and over between moderates and hardliners, I think that really mirrors the chaos that led to the 2025 shutdown. So I'm kind of wondering how this gets sorted out because as an insider, I've seen a couple different things at play. But again, you were right. Democrats who are in the minority are framing this as Republican extremism on immigration. And what they really are trying to do is rally their base ahead of the midterms. We've got less than 10 months to go. This is the name of the game. It's going to get even uglier. And this is all going to be about ideological pressures at the end of the day.
Well, you and I have been doing this a long time. And the real issue right now, you're talking end of January. You got 9 months until the election. It's the midterm elections. Sure. And these issues are important to people, get it. But the real bread and butter issues during elections, midterms and presidential elections, the economy, affordability, how is my standard of living, is it going up? Will it go up? And that's really what people vote for. So I believe, Rena, that the Democrats are playing the shutdown game because this keeps this story in the news. It could easily have gone away. It could have gotten quiet. They don't want it to get quiet. They never wanted it to be quiet because the more quiet you get about everything else, you can't talk about how much better the economy is doing now than it was under the last 4 years of Joe Biden.
Well, look, yeah. I mean, I think the Democrats, if they really want to get at anything, they can talk about this impasse stemming from really deep partisan divides. And that's something that I think most Americans get now, is that we have such hyperpolarization here. And then we've also got really strong stances on immigration with these fatal shootings involving ICE. I mean, let's not forget, these were U.S. citizens, not some illegal people that were killed here. I think the spotlight has been on all enforcement operations, right? And the Democrats have been fueling these demands for stricter oversight, but they realize that's not really doing anything to the American public right now. So they're also trying to figure themselves out. Republicans are also saying, we're not going to sit here and take this lightly. We're going to push back. You've got people like Lindsey Graham, who has insisted on cracking down on sanctuary cities. Now, look, I don't really know if that's going to lead to this issue in Congress being sorted out, because what it is funding needs to be extended through a continuing resolution. That has stalled in the Senate as of right now.
Let me explain why, though. The reason why, listen to these demands. Democrats demanding immigration agents stop wearing masks, wear body cameras, fine, carry identification, fine. Roving patrols must stop, and they must have warrants. Must have warrants.
Big demands. Yeah.
I mean, these are outrageous. We're not protecting American citizens. We're lifting illegals off the streets and sending them back home is really the reason. And when politicians, Rena, you and I may disagree on this. Yeah. I believe that the reason there are 2 dead citizens in Minneapolis, whether they were protesters, paid protesters, not whatever, and an ICE agent with his finger bitten off, a couple of them bleeding, concussions, cracked skulls, because of Tim Walz, Jacob Fry, not necessarily Keith Ellison. I think he's guilty of the fraud that hasn't been really investigated yet. But Tim Walz and Fry really amped up that protest right there. Those people right there, they got him going. They said, "This is Gestapo. He's Hitler. Get the F out, ICE." Day one, people started to die after that. People got jazzed up. They got to the streets. They got violent. And of course, you get violent with law enforcement, you put yourself at risk. I put it on them, Rena. You may disagree, but tell me.
I disagree on that, but you know what? Here's the thing. I think what the Vermont governor, a Republican, said is that we needed to pause and we needed to figure out how exactly we can stop this enforcement, becoming an issue where American citizens were dead. We need to get to the, again, root of the problem. And I'm encouraged by Tom Homan being sent up there. Of course, as far as I know right now,
hate to cut you off again. It's rude. People get mad at me when I do this. I hate cutting you off. But you said we need to get to the root of the problem. You want to get to the real root of the problem? The open borders for 4 years that allowed these people to come into the country, and we wouldn't have to be removing them in the cities and states that didn't want to do it.
Well, this is where elections have consequences, and the policies on the books there don't allow federal agents to do safe handoffs from jail. So that's a tension between state and federal. But that's, again, policies that are due to the Democrats in leadership in that state. And we can go, down the rabbit hole of nitpicking every wrong thing they've done. I think we're seeing Tim Walz's career come to a horrific end. I mean, he's basically had this implosion, and now you're likely going to see a governor, Amy Klobuchar. I mean, on the one hand, I think, is she really running for the people, or is she leaving a Senate that doesn't get anything done? But truth be told, this is, Tim Walz, as the governor of Minnesota, has egg on his face. I think the clash between federal and state is really unfortunate. But at the end of the day, this all being tied to another chapter of dysfunctional appropriations process, I think, is just the wrong way for both of these, the chambers to kind of try to serve the American people. I mean, I think the Senate negotiations have crumbled under ideological pressure. I think a lot of other things have been left in limbo for a while. Let's not forget, the fiscal year began in October of last year. So there's a lot of tension here, and this is just, the sad part is, Eric, is that this is just kind of what we have to deal with in this era. And again, a partial shutdown is going to have implications too. It's going to furlough hundreds of thousands of federal workers. It's going to close national parks. It's going to delay tax refunds, and it's going to disrupt services like food inspections and air traffic control.
Shut them down. We learned last time the shutdown didn't really really matter, didn't change things, markets didn't crash,
Right.
people didn't die, everything was fine, people got paid later, shut the damn thing down, don't compromise with these. I almost said a bad word. Congresswoman Pramila Jayapal wants to do away completely with ICE and DHS and customs.
Unrealistic.
Listen.
Yeah.
As soon as we get the gavels back, we have to dismantle DHS and ICE and CBP. And we have to reconstruct them to what they really should be doing. Remember, don't let people tell you that these are agencies that have always existed and they need to exist. They didn't exist before 9/11.
You know what else didn't exist? Democrats letting millions upon millions of illegals cross our border, almost unfettered. This whole idea of shut down ICE and DHS and let the Democrats decide what it's going to look like when Mayorkas, the last DHS secretary, said the border was fine and 4 or 5 million people came across illegally. No. They would open the floodgates, let them come in, and then offer them stuff for votes. Am I wrong? Tell me if I'm wrong.
You know, Eric, I think there was a huge problem under Joe Biden. I mean, it was like come one, come all. And a country that doesn't enforce its borders is no country at all, right? And we've heard that very statement put in many ways. And Trump believes that too, right? I mean, I've also met reasonable, normal Democrats that believe that. But this is my problem with shutting down things and saying you want to just shutter agencies because you don't like what they're doing. I think things can be reformed. But my problem is how much the federal government actually spends. And economically, the last shutdown cost us billions. And even a short one could erode public trust in government, which we know is at an all-time low. And in the broader political arena, too, it also erodes trust. I mean, you look at the polls from the 2025 shutdown, that showed blame shifting to Republicans. But with Trump back in office, it could test his deal-maker image. I mean, if the government shutdown is prolonged, then it also risks alienating swing voters in battleground states. That's not
Shut it down.
Again,
shut them down. This whole idea of, we're going to blame you if it gets shut down and people's checks won't come. Get out of here. Do what's right. And by the way, don't negotiate with terrorists. If they called the people who are violently attacking ICE agents terrorists, domestic terrorists, don't negotiate with them either. I disagree with the Trump administration on what they're doing there. So yes, I do disagree with them there. Don't leave, finish the job, and let the Democrats shut the government down, and then point the finger at them. Rena, I gotta go. We were going to do Iran. We ran out of time. We'll do Iran
another time.
God forbid if there's bombs flying over the weekend, we'll bring you back very early next week and talk about what's going on in the Middle East.
Thanks, Eric.
Thank you.
Great to see you.
Rena Shah, everyone. Thank you. All right, folks, quick quiz here. No politics, no, just a little truth under pressure. True or false? Most of those longevity labs that you're looking right there are selling you hope, not results. True or false? The food pyramid that you grew up with is completely backwards and wrong. True or false? Doing more workouts might actually age you. If you hesitated on any one of those questions, that's exactly why today's episode just dropped, actually yesterday, because answering those questions, that's what we did. This channel just crossed 509,000 organic views, 10,000 subscribers and more, and 20,000 watch hours without chasing trends, outrage, or algorithms. Did it all on our own. People like you joining, signing. By the way, hit your QR code with their camera or go to YouTube and type in Eric Bolling the Edge in the search box. Hit it. Now, yesterday, I looked this up. Yesterday, I asked you to go watch the episode that just dropped, the one we were showing you a little bit, and you guys came out in force. You watched it a lot, and that's great. But only half of you, 55% of you who watched it, aren't subscribers yet. 45 were, 55 weren't. Go check out the episode, and please subscribe. I thank you. Thank you for watching Rav here, watching Eric Bolling on Rav, and I thank you if you'll just go over there, watch an episode or two, and subscribe. We'll be back 2.5 minutes.
At Real America's Voice, we know that you want to be a part of something bigger. That's why we've teamed up with AMAC, the Association of Mature American Citizens. to build a real community of folks who care about faith and our country's future.
There is no force on earth that can stop us from saving our country.
Want to be a part of this movement? It's easy. Just scan the QR code on your screen right now. That's right. Grab your phone and scan the QR code to join the AMAC and Real America's Voice family today. By scanning the QR code, you'll unlock exclusive content, connect with like-minded Americans, and be first in line for events that celebrate our shared values. So don't wait. Scan the QR code. Join us today and become part of a community that stands for faith, family, and freedom.
Real rights, they come from God.
With AMAC and Real America's Voice. Go ahead. Scan the QR code now. Patriots, it's time to gear up. Real America's Voice has an entire lineup of merch made just for you.
We got some Rav fans out here.
We watch you every day.
From mugs that start your morning strong to hoodies, hats, t-shirts, pants, vests, flags, and so much more.
Yeah, I noticed it. I mean, that caught my eye big time.
Every piece lets you wear your pride loud and clear. This isn't just merch, it's a movement. When you shop Rav, you're showing the world you're proud to be part of the Real America's Voice family.
God bless Real America's Voice.
So don't wait. Scan the QR code right now or visit realamericasvoice.launchcart.store to shop today.
Thank you, Real America's Voice, for doing true journalism.
Stand tall, be bold, be proud. Represent your voice with Real America's Voice.
It's good to have a real news network out there, so I'm a big fan.
Use code RAVSWAG10 for 10% off.
Real America's Voice rocks.
Hello, all you Ravagers. I'm Billy Howell, your old buddy Carefree Largo from the chat, and I'm thrilled to be part of the Rav family. When I want to be heard, I use my Real America's Voice.
This is Giselle Chaffin. I'm from North Carolina. I'd like to let you know that Rav News is the best news. #1 news. Truth seekers seek to find the truth. It'll set you free.
All right, folks, our next guest is a world-recognized expert on guns and crime. He's the founder and president of Crime Prevention Research Center. Happy to have Dr. John Lott with us. John, long time working with you for many, many years. I really want to focus in on this gun that this guy, Alex Preddy, was carrying, the SIG that he was carrying in Minneapolis, Minnesota, when he was shot by ICE agents. Specifically, we were showing a picture of. John, can you take us through what this is? I own firearms, I own handguns, and I'm not really sure what's on the top of that one. What am I looking at?
Well, the top is actually just another magazine that's there. It's just kind of rested. It's not really attached to the gun there at that point. And then behind that is a sight. So this is a SIG P32. It's at 320. It's actually a very expensive gun. I mean, this is like over $1,000 gun that he has there. So
tell us the sight on it. So I'm seeing the magazine that the gun is just resting next to, but the sight behind it's small. It is a laser sight?
I don't know. I'd have to look at it more. I'd have to have the gun probably to make sure I knew whether it was a laser sight or not. I suspect it's not, but given how expensive the gun is, I guess I wouldn't be surprised that he would spring for the additional cost there.
Now, no doubt, and let's have the control room roll some of the video of the moment that he was shot, leading up to it and during it. Now, tell us, we were told at one point he was brandishing. We're not sure if he's brandishing. We're not sure what people are defining as brandishing. I've also heard he had it in his back. Then I've also heard he had it on his wrist. What do you know?
Well, I mean, I've heard a lot of conflicting stories. I've tried to look at the videos myself. As best as I can tell, it looked like he was holding it at one point there. But look, the bottom line is this. You shouldn't interfere with officers. If the officers are going to arrest you, even if you think that it's wrong that they're doing, you challenge it in court later. You don't fight with the officers. I mean, there's like no question that he's fighting with the officers at this point. He's resisting arrest. Look, this guy is committing multiple crimes. He, first of all, in Minnesota, even though I think the law is wrong there, it's illegal for you to carry a permanently concealed handgun into a place where there's a demonstration occurring or a protest.
Is that true, John? Is that
also
true? Because there are a lot of, I think the NRA is upset with the FBI and Justice saying that exactly what you just said there, that he's not allowed to carry or shouldn't be carrying. You know, and again, listen, my daddy, when I was this big, when I was 5 years old, said, if you get pulled over by a cop, you just do what he tells you to do. You don't fight it. You don't argue. I think he's wrong for what he did. However, there are gun rights advocates, and you're one of the biggest I know, say that, well, he had a legal right to be carrying that gun. Doesn't matter if it's a protest or not. I'll go back to a couple other occasions where people on the right, Kyle Rittenhouse, and then Mark, I can't remember his last name, Mark, the guy from St. Louis, protecting his own property on his front. Now, granted, not his own property here. However, Kyle Rittenhouse walked into a protest with a long gun. What's the difference?
Well, Carl, okay, there are multiple issues here. One is Kyle Rittenhouse is a very different case. There, he had talked to the owner of some property who wanted help protecting that property from the demonstrations. And so Kyle was not carrying the gun as, participating in the protest. He was carrying the gun to protect property from being destroyed. Look,
don't get me wrong, John. I don't want people to get freaked out. I agree with that. I agree that as long as it's a legal carry, by all means carry it. I don't care if it's protest, protecting property or whatever. By all means carry. My point is, this seems like it was a legal carry. And I just, not that it was, and I don't know the details. Did he pull it out? I see the cop, one of the ICE officers, walking away, de-arming the guy. He had the gun before he was shot. Okay, whatever. But if it's a legal carry, I don't like people in power. I know it's our side right now, but I want people in power to say, oh, he shouldn't have brought that gun to a protest when there are gun rights advocates. So I'm a huge 2A protector. I think he had the right to.
Right. So there are two issues here. One is what I think the law should be nationally and what I think the Supreme Court will eventually decide, and what the law currently is in Minnesota. In the vast majority of states, you're able to go and carry a permanent concealed handgun at a protest. There are a few states, and there are cases working through the courts right now, where states pick different gun-free zones. We just had a Supreme Court case dealing with gun-free zones with regard to Hawaii that they just heard oral arguments a week ago on. And my guess is the Supreme Court's going to restrict Hawaii and California and New York's gun-free zones that they have. But eventually, one of these cases dealing with carrying a gun at a protest, which is just some of these more restrictive states have kind of limited where you're able to go and carry a gun. My guess is eventually it'll get to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court will strike down those laws. But the law is still in place right now in Minnesota, whether you or I think that it will be found unconstitutional or not. It's still the law there. But there are other laws.
So question. Here we go. This is one of the classic examples. If it's constitutional to carry the gun into that protest, but at the state level it's not, where does the power lie? Where does the right or wrong?
Well, you're going to get arrested for right now, and you can go to court and you can go and fight, and hopefully you'll eventually win the case. But I'm still saying, given current law, no matter, even if it's going to be eventually found unconstitutional, it's still against the law to do it in Minnesota.
All right, let's do this, John. Let's talk to the folks, and we know, you and I both know this. I carry a pocket of the Constitution everywhere I go. It's in my backpack right over there. Second Amendment, when it was written, founding fathers, it wasn't intended to protect your own property. It was you had the right to bear arms against the tyrannical government, right? And I don't know anymore. And again, folks, this could be on either side. It could be Republican, Democrat, ICE, liberal losers who want to de-arm people who are rightfully gun owners and allowed to do so. So you don't want a government to tell you you can't carry when the Constitution tells you can, right? The letter of the founding fathers, the letter of that law was not against protecting thieves from stealing your stuff, but more protecting against a tyrannical government. Am I right?
Right. Well, I mean, they had just gone through the opening shots in the American Revolution, Lexington, Concord, where the British troops had tried to disarm the American colonists that were there. So that was fresh in their mind when they did that. But, the Second Amendment was very broad, not just to protect you from the government, but to allow people to protect themselves from all sorts of different harms that could come their way. And I mean, clearly you're right about that. And my own guess is that if you go back, the Bruin decision 2022 said that the courts had to go and look to see what laws were in effect in either 1791 when the Second Amendment was adopted or in 1868 when the 14th Amendment applied the Bill of Rights to the states. And I think if you look at either of those two time periods, what you're saying is very clear that there were no laws in effect that banned people from being able to go and have a weapon for protection at a protest there. So, I mean, I think what you're saying is right, that eventually Minnesota's law will get struck down. There are other laws in Minnesota that he was also violating. So, for example, in Minnesota, if you're carrying a permanent concealed handgun, you have to have your concealed carry license with you. He had no ID. He had neither his concealed carry license
John,
nor
and then NRA is pushing back.
ID.
There are gun rights advocates who are saying you don't need to carry it on you as long as you're licensed. There are those who say,
well, I'm just saying, right.
Yeah.
Eventually, the courts may get to these issues.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And but
here's my point.
Saying,
I do not want to defend ICE because it fits this political narrative right now, when in reality it could be the other way around down the road, and you're allowing government or police states to de-arm you when you're not supposed to be de-armed, when you have the right to carry that, whether you got your license in your pocket or not. That's all, John. I love having these discussions.
I agree. The bottom line is this. And this is what you were giving the advice when you were 5 years old from your dad. And that is, if you think the police are wrong to arrest you, argue it out in court eventually.
Right.
But don't go and fight the officers right there. And just in terms of not doing something really stupid, don't go and fight officers at the same time you have a gun with you.
That's great. This is one of the biggest things you ever do. If you ever pulled, I have a gun. If you're ever pulled over, the first thing you say to the cop, just want you to know, I have a firearm in my glove compartment, just to show them you're not intending to use it at all costs. John, really good having you on. Loving these discussions. Second Amendment is so powerful and so important. Dr. John Lott, president of Crime Prevention Research Center. We'll get you back on again very soon. Thank you.
No, great talking to you, Eric. Thank you.
All right, folks, we'll be back 2.5 minutes.
Real America's Voice is growing, and now it's all in one place. Introducing the new and improved RAV app, built for access, community, and choice, not paywalls. Here's the key. RAV is still free to watch. No sign-in, no membership required. Your favorite live streams, breaking coverage, and video on demand are all right there. Free, just like always.
For the War Room Posse, we have to be a force multiplier on this. We have to stick the landing.
In the White House, in the Oval Office, you're crushing it, my friend.
And if you want more, the members section is your backstage pass. Get exclusive behind-the-scenes photos and videos, insider moments from the studio and the field, and early access to new content before it goes public. Members can also unlock special experiences like virtual meet and greets, member-only auctions, and select event access, plus commercial-free viewing of certain shows inside the app. It's not just an app, it's a community. Download the RAV app today. Find it in the App Store and Google Play.
Hi, my name is Tracy L. from Arizona. I don't stink around in the kitchen when it comes to the news. I watch Real America's Voice, which always serves accurate and reliable updates that are on point with their amazing hosts. So don't find yourself in a pickle by tuning into the fake news. Stick with Real America's Voice.
Patriot Mermaid, and I'm from West Haven, Connecticut. When the mainstream media wasn't giving us the truth, I went and looked for the truth and found it on Real America's Voice. Come and join us. Come on.
Hi, this is Chris from Colorful Colorado. I'm drawbridge in the Getter Chat. I trust no one for my news except Real America's Voice. So if anyone asks, I was never here.
It's Stacy from Texas. I watch Real America's Voice because I need to learn, and I know I can get the truth through Rav. God bless everyone, and always love the children. Amen.
Take a look at that, Minneapolis, Minnesota. Guess what it is? A bunch of folks trying to protest. Hopefully they keep it a protest and not a riot. And remember, the First Amendment to the U.S. Constitution allows you to gather peacefully. Doesn't allow you to commit violence. Doesn't allow you to punch a cop, run over a cop, bite a cop's thumb off. Doesn't allow you to break windows. It allows you to gather peacefully, to have your opinions heard. And we want that. We want to protect that First Amendment. By the way, 9 degrees right there right now, folks. Feels like is around a 2 plus 2. It's going to get to when that sun goes down about another hour or so, it'll be down to -3 degrees. And those folks are out there. I wonder how many of those are being paid. Or should I say it might be easier to find out how many are not being paid. Minneapolis, Minnesota. All right, things are not always as they seem. George Floyd was a deeply flawed human being, a drug-addicted, lifelong criminal who once held a gun to a pregnant woman's stomach, but he became some sort of saint to the left. Renee Good dedicated herself to disrupting ICE raids and believed that criminal illegal aliens were the good guys, a so-called anti-ICE warrior. But she's become a saint to the Democrats. Alex Preddy was not just a peaceful protester. It turns out, apparently, their Democrat hero nurse attacked ICE, begging to be attacked, but he's become some sort of saint to them as well. But maybe he wasn't the kind of gentle nurse they so desperately want you to think he was.
They chose to, they killed the wrong guy. Right, because this is like the perfect guy. Alex Preddy is the guy you would want to date your daughter, the guy you would want your son to grow up to be, a decent human being who was serving humanity, serving sick veterans, who is, there is nothing that has been said about that man that isn't wonderful. And so they can't malign him. They can't malign him because we have the videos.
Sure, Ana Navarro. Republican, copy. But not all the videos, it turns out. The guy you want to date your daughter, things are not always as they seem. Just a father minding his own business? Yeah, right. Just a mom driving her kids to school? Okay. Just a neighborhood nurse observing? Right? Things are not always as they seem, but the left seems to bend over backwards to turn the bad guys into their saints, while Charlie Kirk was murdered in broad daylight, gunned down just for holding public debates and having opinions the left disagrees with. At the worst, most evil end of it, there were celebrations. Social media was littered and dancing and enjoying the tragic moment. And the media, the leftist politicians, they refused to fully acknowledge just how tragic it was that someone would be murdered just because you would disagree with him. And that's it. Nothing else. They disgustingly implied that Charlie Kirk was asking for it. They slammed him. They slandered him. We haven't forgotten them either. As always, we bring receipts.
You can't stop with these sort of awful thoughts you have and then saying these awful words and not expect awful actions to take place.
Matt,
and that's the unfortunate environment we're in.
The rhetoric that Charlie Kirk continuously put out there was rhetoric that specifically targeted people of color. And so it is unfortunate that even our colleagues could not see how harmful his rhetoric was specifically to us. And I can tell you that a month prior to him passing away, he had actually gotten out on his podcast. I wasn't aware of this at the time, but he got out there and he was talking negatively about me directly. So if there was any way that I was going to honor somebody who decided that they were just going to negatively talk about me and proclaim that I was somehow involved in the great white replacement, Yeah, I'm not honoring that kind of stuff.
What I find jarring is that there's so many people willing to excuse the most reprehensible things that he said. But I am not going to sit here and be judged for not wanting to honor any legacy this man has left behind. That should be in the dustbin of history, and we should hopefully move on and forget the hate that he spewed every single day.
One of the things I do want to point out that's not been laid out that honestly hurts my heart is when I saw the no votes, there were only 2 Caucasians. For the most part, the only people that voted no were people of color, because the rhetoric that Charlie Kirk continuously put out there was rhetoric that specifically targeted people of color. And so it is unfortunate that even our colleagues could not see how harmful his rhetoric was, specifically to us.
The thing that is so obvious about it, and I think this is so disgusting, is that you don't really care. You don't really care about Charlie Kirk. What you care is that this is a moment that you can use for clicks.
You know, I care about, Don Lemon, that you got your ass arrested last night. The federal agents knocked on your door, put you in cuffs, and they took you down, and we're waiting to see how that turns out. Way to go, Don. Way to go breaking into a church service with little kids in the pews. Way to go bring the crowd in there. You got what you deserve. FAFO, as they say. So let me get this straight, Democrats. Charlie Kirk saying things you don't like warrants his being murdered, assassinated. Charlie Kirk just voicing opinions that don't gel with your agenda means that he deserved being killed. That was the overall message delivered by Democrats in the days and weeks, maybe even months after his murder. 4 words. Not for trying to run over a federal agent with your vehicle, not for kicking and screaming at federal agents, not for interfering with federal operations. The left created Renee Goods and Alex Preddies out of thin air. They created an army of Renee Goods and Alex Preddies out of desperation because it's their last resort. And the world, or at least part of the world, is falling for it. Renee Good made it her life's mission to obstruct ICE. She lost her life doing so when she chose to assault federal law enforcement with a deadly weapon, her car. But they've turned her into some sort of saint. And now new video shows that Preddy wasn't the angel they're making him out to be. Far from it. The truth turns out to be that Alex Preddy was a violent agitator. Watch. He repeatedly went out armed to deliberately instigate physical confrontations with law enforcement. Preddy's no victim. He was not a mere protester, but he was created out of the left's madness. Things aren't always as they seem. And you see, this is the part where someone on the left would say something like, he got what was coming to him. Actually, here's where I lay blame on every single Democrat who instigated this crescendo moment in the Minneapolis story. Turns out that Renee Good and Alex Preddy were trained domestic extremists impeding law enforcement, and the whole world fell for the story the left wanted them to hear. The deaths of Renee Good, Alex Preddy, tragic, no doubt. They were also unnecessary, no doubt. But let's be clear. Their deaths are only unnecessary because if the left still had any respect for the law, for this country, and for a democracy, their deaths wouldn't have happened in the first place. Their deaths happened because they were recruited by a power-hungry, bloodthirsty leftist mob through their words, their fiery and slanderous rhetoric. Am I right? Jacob Frey, ICE, get the F out of here. Tim Walz, like Hitler, like Gestapo. Their slanderous rhetoric, day in and day out. The left have recruited an army of misguided leftists who see the world completely backwards. The illegals and criminals must be defended with their lives if it comes down to it. While the brave men and women working to defend this country and its citizens, well, we need to, get rid of them somehow. Imagine how sick and twisted that is, that these people are willing to risk their lives, these people on the left, not for their own country or their countrymen, but for the lives of rapists, murderers, illegal invaders. But somewhere along the way, the left has decided that the only way to get their way and to get their agenda across is to get people killed while they pretend it's righteous. Things are not always as they seem. And the truth is, it's the left that has the blood of Renee Good and Alex Preddy on their hands. This is the world they created. We're just living in it. We'll be right back.
Real America's Voice is growing, and now it's all in one place. Introducing the new and improved RAV app, built for access, community, and choice, not paywalls. Here's the key. RAV is still free to watch. No sign-in, no membership required. Your favorite live streams, breaking coverage, and video on demand are all right there. Free, just like always.
For the War Room Posse, we have to be a force multiplier on this. We have to stick the landing.
In the White House, in the Oval Office, you're crushing it, my friend.
And if you want more, the members section is your backstage pass. Get exclusive behind-the-scenes photos and videos, insider moments from the studio and the field, and early access to new content before it goes public. Members can also unlock special experiences like virtual meet and greets, member-only auctions, and select event access. Plus, commercial-free viewing of certain shows inside the app. It's not just an app, it's a community. Download the RAV app today. Find it in the App Store and Google Play.
Hi, my name is Tracy L. from Arizona. I don't stink around in the kitchen when it comes to the news. I watch Real America's Voice, which always serves accurate and reliable updates that are on point with their amazing hosts. So don't find yourself in a pickle by tuning into the fake news. Stick with Real America's Voice.
I'm Patriot Mermaid, and I'm from West Haven, Connecticut. When the mainstream media wasn't giving us the truth, I went and looked for the truth and found it on Real America's Voice. Come and join us. Come on.
Hi, this is Chris from Colorful Colorado. I'm drawbridge in the Getter chat. I trust no one for my news except Real America's Voice. So if anyone asks, I was never here.
It's Stacy from Texas. I watch Real America's Voice because I need to learn, and I know I can get the truth through RAV. God bless everyone, and always love the children. Amen.
So apparently Don Lemon found out. Arrested last night in Los Angeles, spent the night in jail, all for helping storm and terrorizing a church under the guise of journalism. And when I do that with Don Lemon, I use the air quotes, journalism. Here's a little reminder of what they did.
What do you think of this? I mean, this is unacceptable. It's shameful. It's shameful to interrupt a public gathering of Christians in worship. But there were folks who will say, I have to take care of my flock. Okay, but listen, we live there's a constitution in the First Amendment to freedom of speech and freedom to assemble and protest.
Yeah, except it doesn't allow you to break into places of worship and terrorize people. It's to assemble peacefully, not break into churches. Donnie, but you found out, didn't you? And Don's comment, the statement right here, I'm quoting Don Lemon, the First Amendment exists to protect journalists whose role it is to shine light on the truth and hold those in power accountable. That part's true. Instead of investigating the federal agents who killed 2 peaceful Minnesota protesters, that part's false. The Trump Justice Department is devoting its time, attention, and resources to this arrest. That part's false. And that is the real indictment of wrongdoing in this case. No, they will get to the bottom of the deaths that happened at the back end of some violent protesters attacking ICE agents. I'm sure they will. Don, you can't break in, brother. You can't hide behind the First Amendment for doing that. Like I said, imagine if I walked into a church. I walked into a mosque with a "Make America Great," a MAGA hat on, with my shoes on, and I started spewing Catholic stuff around the mosque. Do you think they'd be all right with that under an Obama or Biden Justice Department? No, I'd be in handcuffs too, just like you, Donnie. Meanwhile, Lemon's fellow church rioter, Nakima Levy-Armstrong, certainly has an interesting take on being arrested.
We had belly chains around our waist, and we had handcuffs with bars in the middle. As someone who majored in African American studies, I can tell you that that is the closest I ever felt to slavery in my life. Being shackled as if I was a slave. It is unacceptable and unconscionable, but it's on brand.
You were detained, young lady. You were a slave. You were detained because you broke a law. They had reasonable suspicion that you broke a law. We'll find out if you broke a law or not, won't we? Dollar store Obama is now graduated to making outright threats against Kristi Noem using language he very well much knows will incite even more violence. Hakeem Jeffries, Timu Obama, isn't even hiding it anymore.
It's disgraceful. She's got to go. We are dead serious. She needs to be put on ice permanently. She's got to go. And by the way, she's not the only one.
Okay, whatever you say. She may go, but it'll be on her accord, I'll bet. By the way, is apple cider vinegar. So the apple cider vinegar from the stage attack against Ilhan Omar may have gone to Ilhan Omar's brain. Can someone double check and make sure she's okay? Pretty awful Freudian slip right here.
Now our community is reeling from their murder that were entirely avoidable.
Are you okay? I shouldn't laugh at that. All right, looks like the fraudster's latest tactic is to completely downplay the billions of dollars of fraud. Yeah, he oversaw and allowed his state, Timmy Walls. For some reason, Elmer Fraud, Tim Walls, thinks it's now acceptable because, hey, it happens everywhere, you know?
You mentioned this fraud investigation and the reason that they're here. Is there anything you think, when you look back, you could have done differently to prevent them from showing up and doing what they're doing here?
No, they were coming anyway. It was all make-believe that we'd been at it. Every state had this. This fraud thing happens in every state. We had it here. I take responsibility for it. No one in state government had anything to do with it, but people stole from us.
You're toast, dude. This guy's in a lot of trouble. You can see in his face. You could just tell. It's not that his political career is toast. I think he's really, really fearing going to jail, and he might. Kara Swisher comparing Stephen Miller, who's Jewish, by the way, to one of the most renowned and highest-ranking members of the Nazi regime, Heinrich Himmler, is a prime example of just how insane the leftists have become. The venom they spew without regard to without regard, just shows how deep and deranged the disease of theirs has really become.
And I would last like to call out Stephen Miller, who is in the center of this. We always focus on Trump, as we often focus on the top people. But Stephen Miller, like a man named Ben Detson, he was the one who created the internment camps for Japanese. Heinrich Himmler, in the Nazi regime, this is what he is, and he of course Trump gets the most of the blame, being at the top, but people like Stephen Miller will go down in history as evil, had blood on his hands, and should be jailed at the very end of this. And you're absolutely right.
Living rent-free in these Democrats' heads is amazing. Clearly, the memo to slander Stephen Miller extends well into the Democrat Party. Ilhan Omar, fresh from her, so dangerous attack. Gee, she almost died from that apple cider vinegar. Jumps on the bandwagon trying to get Stephen Miller killed.
Nobody should ever have hired Stephen Miller, who basically is a copycat of the Nazis, and that's kind of the cruelty that he wants to, inflict on people.
You can't do this. Yeah, if we did it and someone got killed or hurt, like Charlie Kirk, you go nuts. They would probably, if it was a Biden Justice Department and all these roles were reversed, they'd be throwing MAGA people in jail left and right. Much like Stephen Miller and Tom Homan, Greg Bovino, who was the Border Patrol commander involved in the chaos in Minneapolis, has become one of the left's names and faces to throw out as pure evil. And while there are some questions out there regarding exactly his future, I think he went back to California per Trump, leave it to the likes of Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson, to make it about something entirely different.
It's unfortunate that Greg Bovino's that his legacy will take time for people to understand how nasty of an individual he really is. It's clear that the far right in this country, that they have not accepted the results of the Civil War, and that they have longed for a rematch to have a republic that subjugates and subjects individuals to a permanent lower class.
Civil War, they heighten the rhetoric and people get hurt and you wonder why. I mean, you think when they heighten the rhetoric, it doesn't somehow dog whistle all these lunatic white liberals who seem to have some sort of guilt complex go out in the streets and act crazy with cops. I mean, literally, it's not the people, the deportees who are doing this. It's white liberal people. Wow. Crazy. All right, folks, let's see how well you really know performance. At what age do men start losing testosterone levels? 10, 15, 20, 50, 70, you know? What about red light therapy? Is this important? Does it work? Or is it all junk science? How about placebo effect? This one's interesting. You know, where you believe you're getting a positive health benefit from a modality when there's literally no substance or science behind the modality. How effective is the placebo effect? Is it under 10%, 20 to 30%, or more than 30%? The answer, I guarantee, will shock you. If no one ever, if you don't know any of the answers to these or you just question them, you need to know the truth. The headlines don't matter. The truth matters. That's why The Edge just crossed 500,000 views. 4 months in a week. 500,000 views, 10,153 subscribers and counting, and 20,000 watch hours. But get this, 55% of the views and viewers are brand new to the channel. So I want you to go to that QR code, take your camera, subscribe. Just join this group. It's growing. Or go to YouTube and type in Eric Bolling The Edge or Eric Bolling The Edge, YouTube on Google, wherever, and subscribe. Really, really, really want you to be here. Friday's a good day to sharpen your edge. Thank you for your viewership to Rav. Thank you for watching Bowling on Rav at 4 o'clock Eastern. Thank you for subscribing either there or on YouTube. Let's bust out. 55% of you aren't even subscribers, but thank you for watching anyway. We'll be right back.
Real America's Voice is growing, and now it's all in one place. Introducing the new and improved RAV app, built for access, community, and choice, not paywalls. Here's the key. RAV is still free to watch. No sign-in, no membership required. Your favorite live streams, breaking coverage, and video on demand are all right there. Free, just like always.
For the War Room Posse, we have to be a force multiplier on this. We have to stick the landing.
In the White House, in the Oval Office, you're crushing it, my friend.
And if you want more, the members section is your backstage pass. Get exclusive behind-the-scenes photos and videos, insider moments from the studio and the field, and early access to new content before it goes public. Members can also unlock special experiences like virtual meet and greets, member-only auctions, and select event access, plus commercial-free viewing of certain shows inside the app. It's not just an app, it's a community. Download the RAV app today. Find it in the App Store and Google Play.
Hi, my name is Tracy L. from Arizona. I don't stink around in the kitchen when it comes to the news. I watch Real America's Voice, which always serves accurate and reliable updates that are on point with their amazing hosts. So don't find yourself in a pickle by tuning into the fake news. Stick with Real America's Voice.
I'm Patriot Mermaid, and I'm from West Haven, Connecticut. When the mainstream media wasn't giving us the truth, I went and looked for the truth and found it on Real America's Voice. Come and join us. Come on.
Hi, this is Chris from Colorful Colorado. I'm drawbridge in the Getter Chat. I trust no one for my news except Real America's Voice. So if anyone asks, I was never here.
It's Stacy from Texas. I watch Real America's Voice because I need to learn, and I know I can get the truth through Rav. God bless everyone, and always love the children. Amen.
There you go. Downtown Minneapolis, Minnesota, still 9 degrees. The sun is starting to cover some of those. Oh, no, there they are. I'm sorry, they're still in the sun. So, yeah, maybe they picked the street that stayed sunlit for as long as possible. By the way, how many of those folks are being paid down there? I would say vast majority of them, don't you? Now, take it one step further. How many of those folks are white people down there who are somehow feeling guilty about their white privilege putting their butts on that street for something they have no reason to be on that street for. ICE agents and law enforcement trying to protect your white asses. Sorry to say that. All right, folks. Hey, Mad Dog, can we get a picture of Control Room? There you guys go. What's up, Control Room? Friday, I got some VMs for us, Mad Dog.
Yes, sir. This is Chris McCall on Elon Omar and Pam Bondi.
Hey, brother. Hey, this is Chris McCall, Patriot. I'm on Getter. Hey, I got a question for you. How come they have not got rid of Omar? She hasn't been kicked out of Congress. She hasn't been deported. She's already sat on her oath of office, stealing of money. The other thing is Pam, the Attorney General. How come she's still in that office? How come Trump hasn't replaced her? She's done nothing. She's doing nothing. Bills that need to be passed. What's going on, man? Like with the elections, about making them safe so the Democrats can't cheat, getting illegals in there that voting that shouldn't be voted. So yeah, man. But yeah, I'm watching your show right now. I love it, man. Stay the course, brother. Stay the course.
Stay in the course, my friend. Thank you for the voicemail. I don't know what it takes to bounce a congressperson these days. It's insane. They do censorship when they do something outrageous, and she's not even being censored. I mean, literally, she walked into Congress with $42 in her savings account and negative net worth, and now she's got a positive $30 million net worth through her husband's businesses, which are probably no-show jobs and gigs that she sends his way. That $5 million winery that no one can find now. It's insane. I hope the Department of Justice does aggressively. Don't let Congress do it themselves. Don't let them censor her and throw these people in jail or throw her out of the country if she's breaking our laws. Are we sure she's legal? Are we? Because she's married her brother to give him legal status. Is she even legal? I don't know. I'm not saying she's not. I'm just asking the questions here. Just asking the questions here, so to speak. Right, Mad Dog?
Yes, sir. This is Mr. Nobody on Alan Dershowitz yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
Hi, Eric. This is just a nobody from Cleveland, Ohio calling you. I just watched your episode today. Great show. You had this dude on there trying to look to me like he was trying to stick up for the Clintons and Epstein. I mean, come on now. Just because he was there, he saw nothing. What about the photos with Slick Willie in the pool with young girls and Slick Willie on the plane with young women sitting on his lap? And where was he going? You know, there was also a ranch somewhere out west that he had, and victims were there. Egregious stuff happened to him. So I think that dude needs to do more homework. Love your show. Have a great day. Take care. Bye.
Bye. Thank you for calling. You're not Mr. Nobody. You called in. I love your comment. It was amazing. So many of you called in about that Alan Dershowitz interview yesterday. In fact, we did the interview, and be perfectly honest, this is how we put the show together. We pre-taped it, and we're like, we have a full show yesterday, and we had our guests lined up yesterday. We're going to hold that interview for today. Because of the things he said, we're like, no, let's get this out there right away. I was shocked. Alan Dershowitz, I don't know what his involvement was. I know he was Epstein's lawyer. I'm not accusing of anything, but his tune certainly changed a lot. I found him very much defending Bill Clinton, very much defending Jeffrey Epstein, very much blaming the victims. Blaming the victims. It's kind of like what the left does with law enforcement. Blame the people who are trying to keep the peace and give a pass to the criminals, the people who are breaking the law. I don't know where Alan gets saying that Bill Clinton never got involved. Sir, you're right. I remember the video, not just stills, videos of Bill Clinton in a massive hot tub, Ghislaine Maxwell and two young pretty girls. That's all that was there. Hillary wasn't there. No one else was there, just Bill and three ladies. Okay. I guess nothing happened. Huh? I can't prove it, and as far as Pam Bondi, yes, Pam, let's get these files out there. I don't care what anyone wants. Just get transparency, folks. It's always the best option. Mad Dog, we'll do one more.
Yes, sir. This last viewer is signing off.
Yeah, Eric, I got to tell you a funny one. I told you guys I had to stop calling you because my wife was all bent out of shape. Well, my wife was sitting down watching your show with me tonight when you played my one about the assassination of Kennedy and my dad. And she realized it was me. She goes, I thought I told you to stop calling that number. We don't need everybody getting in our act. So this really is my last phone call because she went absolutely ballistic. And she does not want me doing that on the phone anymore. So But thank you for playing a couple of mine, and God bless you guys. I am a God-fearing patriot that loves this flag and loves this country, and hopefully it doesn't all go down the drain, because we got guys like you guys out there fighting and your staff. And God bless all of you guys. Love y'all. And I'm signing off because I don't need my wife down on me anymore. But thank you for everything. And God bless and good luck.
You know, I don't have a lot to say. We played that gentleman's voicemail. Tell us about his dad was one of the sharpshooters, 50 best sharpshooters in America. He said that he didn't believe Charlie Kirk's assassin did it, thought it meant someone closer, but that he said he can't call in anymore. I hope you do call in, sir. And sorry, I hope it didn't get you in any more trouble. I hope you're watching. Tell the wife we're okay. No one's going to